one of the milling cutters off of my Adcock and Shipley 1ES. This one's got carbide inserts, which are brilliant. You get a fantastic finish. It feeds through at 9 million miles an hour and spits red hot chips out at you. The problem is a new set of inserts is around about 18 quid, which is okay, providing you're not going through them at a rate of knots. And being a beginner, I found that getting the cutting speeds and feeds and depth of cut all set up right for it was a little expensive. So we moved on to shell mills. That's my favourite cutter, but as you can see, it's starting to show signs of well, it's been used. It needs sharpening. I picked up with the mill a ruckload of cutters, and these, I wouldn't want to buy these new, but you can just about see the edges of it have gone. There's not, it's barely a cutting edge, and if that's carried on used, it will just destroy itself. And I've got a box full of those from sort of 1/2 inch up to I think 2 inch, 2.5 inch. And then we've got horizontal milling cutters. We've got 2 boxes of these. Some are sharp, some are new, never been used. Slitting cutters, all in various degrees of usability. Some of them are matched pairs, some of them aren't. Then we got these. These have been superb. These are high-speed steel inserts, and no, I haven't caused the damage. That's how they arrived. But they came in a lot. They cost me a couple of quid each. But they've all want a regrind, so I've started. I bought a Clarkson Mark 1 tool and cutter grinder, and I've been learning how to use the thing. I've also fitted on a spin indexer, which is something I actually had, but I made a pivot base for it and fitted it on a vice, rotary vice stand. So that thing will slide past the cutter head, past the grinding head, and you've got a screw feed on it. Everything's a bit tight. It's I stripped it down, cleaned it all, checked it over, put it back together, and I'm just now tweaking it as I go along. The Mark 1 hasn't got any of the fancy bits on, so there's no calibrated feed dial, there's no height gauge, there's T-bar for winding it up and down, but it does the job. Just fitted a new 100mm diameter 60 kV, I think is the spec of the wheel. I've not even trued it up yet. Yes, and it's a hand cut paper disc to clamp it. So what we're trying to do, excuse the handheld, is, having cleaned up the outer edges on each of these 2 cutters, the next job was to clean up the bottom edges. And as you can see, the land that's generated to get each of the edges now cutting through, the land is too much. That small, that edge there should be something in the region of 3/64 of an inch maximum, and I think on one of them it's damn near 1/4 of an inch. So I've got to cut back or grind back the clearance angle, which is that one. Now I started with a 6-inch wheel, and what I found was just setting it up to get that bit there, it was taking material off the cutting edge there and there. So I went for a smaller diameter wheel, which is how I got the cutting edges done. But that smaller diameter wheel, I've no idea of the grit. It's produced a nice fine finish, but it didn't half generate some heat. That's why we've gone for the new wheels. I bought a set of 3 so I can grind them down. Ordered them yesterday afternoon at 4 o'clock, and they arrived this morning at 9 o'clock. Midland Abrasives. I'm very happy with the service. Made up some clamp washers to clamp either side of the wheels, so they're ready. So the next job's to set it all up and see how we get on. Well, it's still too tight to get in, so the only other option is a cup wheel. Maybe that's where I should have started. Basically, as that wheel traverses in, you're really close. Try and get my digit in there. Really close down there, and it's certainly not going. Not enough clearance to clean up. You see, I mean, it's clear, but it's. If you look at the tooth face, I've not even started. I'm only a third of the way in. I'm having to take it carefully, and as you can see, there's a bit of burning and whatnot. So I'm going to set it up with a cup wheel and see whether that's any better. Sorry for the handheld. Well, we've got a cup wheel on. I don't know whether it's any good. And we've set it all up by eye. And as you can see, as it traverses in, it's leaving us with. I've put a stop on it, so plenty of coverage. The lighting's terrible, I'm sorry. But you've got the tooth fully ground, and there's I don't know, a couple of millimetres clearance. So I'm going to true up the cup and then give it a go.